E o que vocês acharam de Go School? Deixa eu ver se o bot ainda tá vivo. Porque o comando R não vai. O comando C também tá morto. É, o bot tá morto mesmo, gente. Ok. E agora vamos para Zoda's Revenge, StarTropics 2 com TheTantalus. E o próximo jogo, Blaster Master Hype. Para quem estiver esperando o Blaster Master, é o próximo jogo.
StarTropics 2, it is the sequel to StarTropics. And with me, have the world record holder for StarTropics 1 provide commentary, Bug Doctor.
Hello, everyone.
And
hope you're all doing well.
And I am second place in this run. I'm the console world record holder, I guess, for this game. It's been developed immensely in the past.
Ele disse que esse jogo é a continuação de StarTropics.
Because the intro is a little slow, so Bug Doctor can kind of give a history of how we're going to do it. And I might be a little quiet during the run because a lot of this gets pretty hectic. It's a pretty long run for an NES.
Ele falou que vai ficar quieto durante a run, então por isso vai ter uma pessoa que vai comentando lá por ele. E GLGL TheTantalus, e com isso capítulo 1 de Zoda's Revenge, StarTropics 2. Bom, ele vai logicamente marchar os botões porque ele não vai as falas.
Basically, Mike Jones is telepathically talking to a character we meet at the end of StarTropics 1, who is actually an alien. They're talking about how...
E esse jogo tem uma ligação com o primeiro, na questão da história.
In the first game. And she basically tells him, hey, you just gotta reverse it. So Dr. Jones isn't terribly good at his job.
Opa! Deu uma travada aqui, mas é da própria Retrothon. Não sei que problema deu. Ok, voltamos.
All inputs can be buffered. So as TheTantalus was going through all the text in that area, he's basically, as soon as the next text box shows up, he's letting go of A and then holding it down until the next one goes away. You can buffer all your inputs throughout the game.
E, bom, o personagem agora entrou em outra tempo e espaço e com esse capítulo tá dando drop aqui, que eu não sei porquê.
So yeah, I'm just gonna let TheTantalus focus here. He's going over this snowfield, which has some pits that you can fall in for dungeons, but...
Ok, agora ele vai se mover pelo mapa.
There's a path, so we don't have to run into any dungeons there. They seem like they're random encounters, but they're not. And here we're gonna...
E ele tá justamente... Você conseguiu agora... Ok, ele pegou um machado, né? Ele tá na era dos homens invernos.
Whatever you can find it, you can throw it. Since you don't have a weapon, if you fall into the dungeons in the snowfield, you have to find rocks in the dungeons to clear the...
Ele precisa de uma arma porque ele vai ter que ir em dungeons. Então, sem uma arma não dá, né?
So TheTantalus is in the first dungeon here, and he's going to do something.
E agora ele vai pela primeira dungeon e como o jogo mudou, muda muito a perspectiva.
Once he gets to that moment, and a void walk is. I'll explain a little bit after, but it's one of the tricks that will be used throughout the game.
Lembra Zelda de uma certa forma, mas ele pula.
So just set up here. And there we go.
Ouch!
And so basically what he's doing is he's doing precise set of inputs beforehand, plus some pause buffering. Oh man, that bear.
Porque ele precisa ter cuidado com os ursos. O ataque deles é de longo alcance. Ele acabou de dizer agora. Ele tomou um hit, ele precisa ter muito cuidado. Ele precisa ter muito cuidado agora, porque ele tá numa sala com... Ele disse que foi por pouco. Agora temos um pequeno labirinto aí para ele passar. Ele precisa pegar o caminho certo. Ok. Ele precisa urgentemente de um coração, um item de cura. Porque senão... Ai. Ok, ele saiu do labirinto. E agora ele chegou já no primeiro boss, que simplesmente está comendo ali o javali. E pronto, boss derrotado.
It's key to buffer it. That is in both StarTropics games as well.
Yeah, it's more of a timing than a mash. That's a huge important thing to learn. Tan's going to do a trick here to try and... Oh, I missed it. There's a way to basically not have this conversation with these children, which since Mike is an awkward teenager, I'm sure he doesn't want to do anyway.
E ele conseguiu salvar as crianças que estavam presas ali, senão teriam sido o próximo alimento. Ok, ele pegou um bloco. Senão teriam sido o próximo alimento do chefão.
And then so that's basically the first chapter down. And something that's important to note here is at the end of every chapter you get a health refill, and so it's super important for the player to have as much health as possible at the end of the chapter, so that there's less of a refill time. Because basically for every refill,
referência a Tetris.
So, we're gonna wait a little bit here, as you can see.
Ok, ele ganhou mais vida agora. E ele subiu de nível.
Having good chapter times in this game.
Yeah, that's why getting hit by those bears is pretty catastrophic. Not just because it puts me in range of death, but
E agora, mais uma vez, ele vai falar com o livro ali, as palavras mágicas, e vai ser teletransportado no tempo e espaço. Vamos ver para que era ele vai parar agora. Hora do capítulo 3, e você vai para o espaço. E... Antigo Egito.
Cleopatra here in a moment. Something interesting to note here is you can actually get a weapon upgrade with a secret at the right side of this. You can walk through that cliff face, but we're not actually going to snag it because it costs too much time and it doesn't do enough damage to make up for the time it costs to get it.
E pelo visto estão falando de Cleópatra.
Yeah, the first dungeon in this chapter anyway. Something else that's interesting to notice in this game is that it doesn't make you talk to as many.
Exatamente, é a Cleópatra.
But in StarTropics 1, you have to talk to a lot of people in villages to progress, but that's not so.
E a Cleópatra quer uma pizza. Ok. Ok, ele vai atrás da pizza que é a Cleópatra. Que já faz 3 dias que ela dá para ela. Ok, então ele vai agora virou o garoto de entrega agora. Ele tem que buscar a pizza que não chegou. Mas pizza também é muito bom, né, gente? Convenhamos.
something that couldn't save time there was just do like a jump attack towards the end so that you gain a little bit of ground as you're throwing last attack to save a couple frames. Just gonna safely take out that spider because they can get in the way really easily. These enemies, they can roll around so you can't hit them. They're invincible when they're rolling, but you can generally stay out of the way, but leave you alone. This room's always kind of freaky, so you've got 3 giant muscly Cyclops dudes just swinging blades at you. Pretty startling. And these pink scorpions here aren't bad, but there are some...
Ele só tem que fazer, né, amigos e impedir ou só desviar de tudo.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill a couple more of these rolling enemies, and then Tantalus gonna do a trick in here called a corner jump. So let focus. There we go. Basically, when you jump over, you can.
Ele conseguiu fazer o jump, né, que é o, né, que você pular bem no cantinho. Se você cometer um erro, ai ai. Então, ainda bem que ele não errou. E a hora do boss, que é o escorpião.
Something interesting to note is that the scorpion only shoots those projectiles when you actually kill its babies. Very protective.
Ok, escorpião derrotado.
That was pretty smooth. That was pretty smooth dungeon overall, actually.
Pelo menos os drops pararam, Dunkel. Eu acho que ele teve algum problema. Não sei o que aconteceu, que deu esses drops aí. Não sei se foi a live dele, né? Do TheTantalus. Ou se foi algum problema na Retrothon, mas pelo menos parou os drops. Ok, ele vai alugar agora um camelo.
That she's ordered, and she told us to hold the anchovies even though she's the one that placed the order, so I don't know what the heck she's thinking.
Não me diga que a pizza tá sendo entregue justamente por isso daí. Porque se for, meu Deus, não chega nele. É a pizza. Ok, ele pegou a pizza, né? Por isso que a Cleópatra estava esperando 3 dias e a pizza não chegava. A pizza ainda está morna! A pizza ainda está morna depois de 3 dias. Ok. Ok, vai dar a pizza agora para Cleópatra. Nossa, é do Palácio do César? César Zut! Ok. Júlio César, pelo visto, faz pizza, gente. Bom, e como ele deu a pizza, Cleópatra deu uma né, ele pro lado sul. E com isso, ele ganhou agora uma adaga. E ele vai entrar na pirâmide para encontrar a próxima peça de Tetris que ele precisa encontrar.
So we're going to head up to the jungle, as Tantalus mentioned a little bit ago, and we're going to see the monkey that he was talking about.
Mas ele vai pular floresta antes.
And, this is basically a big hedge maze that you need to normally stand on those platforms to see the path through. But since we're speedrunners, we definitely know this.
Ele disse que isso daí é um labirinto, por que por isso que ele teve que memorizar tudo para poder fazer isso.
And we'll let Tantalus focus on this wrong warp, see if he gets.
E ok, vamos lá.
Oh, duck. Okay, so the duck missed.
Temos patos.
That's the one.
Temos patos atacados que atiram projéteis pela boca. E sapos de um olho. Ok.
At least we know we're going to have a full complement of lives, and we're going to be in good shape for health. So yeah, I'm going to kill these jellyfish. to kind of clear the path here, and then we're just out of this short little dungeon. These are kind of like, as TheTantalus mentioned, they're mini dungeons.
É uma dungeon curta, ele falou.
Yeah, and then
that was
basically
a controller we got. Where I went up left.
Oh yeah.
That was just connecting up there.
Yeah, TheTantalus controller is basically the left has been kind of giving also up and down inputs randomly, so.
Mais uma dungeon.
For this dungeon, so we're just gonna play it. Which just usually involves just killing enemies to get through to reveal the path.
O que o Nart diria se ele visse sapos não, patos, tirando projéteis aí pelo bico?
Yeah, the wrong warp is going to trigger would potentially save up to 8 seconds, and just the other day actually TheTantalus randomly caused the wrong warp to happen even earlier, which we're going to attribute to cosmic rays, similar to famous minus 64.
We have a fellow, Fulco, who will dissect every piece of data in the game as best he can. He's the one who figured out almost every strat that we've used for these wrong warp skips and.
Bom, ele tem que passar por mais labirinto.
Wrong worked out early, and you cannot replicate it. So, as far as we're concerned, it was a cosmic ray. We're gonna toss that one up to the same thing. I didn't hotplate the console. I promise. I don't know, but
I don't know. I see Hotplate in the background there. But yeah, so then this is the last. But yeah, so that's the last of the maze, and then we're gonna talk to this. Finally caught up to the monkey. He's gonna give
Ok, ele já terminou o
which is a weapon that's gonna
labirinto.
Upgrade throughout the game, and it's going to basically increase in power as long
E agora ele tem Shockwave psíquico.
which is kind of similar to how the base.
E com isso ele pode quebrar barreiras e se teletransportar, e no caso ele já foi direto para a Esfinge e entrou já na pirâmide, que é a próxima dungeon. E agora ele vai usar justamente esse poder psíquico para quebrar essas barreiras, para ele poder progredir pela pirâmide.
This room coming up, just down this, or I guess up this set of stairs here, there's a setup to kind of get through here by triggering this that flame at the right less often, so that doesn't. Oh, that was close. So that it doesn't hit you.
Ok, Orb. Ele pegou fogo.
A bit of an issue there, but normally you can get past there without that flame coming back up again. Those zombies can only be killed with the psychic shockwave, so we switch to that whenever we see them. And those rising platforms, you can kind of push towards the end of them and be
são múmias, mas parece mais um boneco da Michelin, não sei porquê.
Fear, fighting that hieroglyphic looking guy.
And yeah, that was another controller snafu, so we didn't have a problem.
Yeah, these cobras are much more annoying than in StarTropics 1 because they literally just move around randomly, and they can be a real pain. These skeleton enemies are a lot like the blood skeletons in Castlevania, where they can't be killed, just knocked down for a while.
Os esqueletos nesse jogo não podem ser mortos, é que nem... você só pode bater apenas para desmontá-los, e eles se remontam. Aqui ele pegou a Orb, e já vai se dirigindo para a próxima sala. Enquanto ele tem que derrotar os inimigos, inclusive o boneco da Michelin, para poder...
This room up here has these conveyor belts that push you along the arrow in the direction that the arrow is facing, and you can just walk straight off them, and they will just push you into spikes. So you kind of have to be really careful around them. But no problem.
Essas setas é como se fosse uma esteira. Ele vai te empurrar para aquela direção que você está apontando. Mas você pode simplesmente andar ou pular, né? Para poder ir mais rápido ou ficar perdendo velocidade por causa do caminho contrário. Orb. E mais bonecos da Michelin.
we're basically going to go around and get an item called a flute, which is only in this stage. We're going to get it from this room down here. Hopefully we're not going to get hit by these mummy children. Normally they...
Ok, com isso ele pegou uma flauta.
They take at least one chunk out of you, but they cooperate really well. Yeah, photosensitivity warning in this room right now. And Tantalus is a real charmer, by which I mean...
Ele vai usar a flauta agora.
The flute brings these snakes out of the wall and allows us to kill them to then reveal secret passage and progress. And coming up, we've got the boss just in the next room here. Some careful platforming.
A próxima sala terá o boss que ele vai enfrentar. E, é claro, tem que ter esteiras. Ele precisa destruir a máscara.
Kind of spread shot projectiles and can also flip its face around, which it didn't do, and fire this extremely quick, like,
E
cannon,
boss derrotado.
which does a ton of damage. But boss cooperated a lot, and got a really good. That was a really smooth pyramid, man. Good stuff.
That was one controller snafu and one mini mummy away from no damage chapter 3. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was awesome.
E com isso ele consegue mais uma peça de Tetris.
That's what we've been collecting in these different time periods. They certainly don't look like blocks from any other type of game that I can think of.
Agora ele tem a peça L, né? A primeira que ele pegou foi a T. E agora, mais uma vez, hora de viajar pelo tempo e espaço.
So we're heading off to London, chapter 4. Really, really good chapter 3. That's awesome.
Yeah, wish I could have got the wrong word, but I don't get it most of the time in my world record PB attempts, so like.
Yeah. E capítulo 4 agora.
We still have some other things that we could show off, so it's alright.
Yeah. And of course, the duck would
vamos ver. E agora vamos ver.
The marathon.
Baker Street, estamos na Inglaterra. Justamente da era do Sherlock Holmes. O grande detetive.
Yeah.
It's common. And once in a while he just shoots at you.
Yeah.
Ele diz que um criminoso vai ajuda. E ele vai pro museu.
Yeah, he's basically telling us that there's a tetrad at the museum here, and he has figured out that the notorious Zoda is going to come and snatch it away. So he's enlisted Mike's help in tracking Zoda down. So we're going to talk to the cops.
Wow.
And say, hey, you're going to the museum a little late.
Ele fala, não é muito tarde demais para você ir pro museu? Suspeito, venha comigo e você é preso. Simples assim.
Yeah, just a quick overworld segment, and then we will go to the museum. That person is just a sleepwalker. They are not a zombie, which is, I'm sure, what they intended people to think. Oh, look, it's Sherlock Holmes.
E agora ele vai entrar no museu.
There he is.
Justamente em time. Ele ia chamar... Ok, eles já acharam a peça, mas olha aqui.
Come and get me, Mike.
E é claro que ele rouba a peça de Tetris e vaza.
And he's supposed to represent the Zoda from the first game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you didn't really kill him in the first game. He came back.
Yeah, somehow.
Time travel does things to people.
That is true. These rafts are not... They're very sketchy. Basically, you can just walk right off them at any point. That was a very close jump. Okay, that was the second...
Bom, agora a próxima dungeon. Agora ele precisa recuperar a peça roubada de Tetris. Senão, como é que ele vai poder salvar? E bom, como essa dungeon se passa justamente nos estados de longe, enfrentar ratos. E ele diz que é muito perigoso ali, justamente fazer esse pulo ali, como ele acabou de fazer ali para cortar caminho. Porque tem que ter, além do pixel certo, né? Se você pular errado, o jogo pode não reconhecer, ele dá problema para você. E, ups, temos corujas como inimigos. Não! Não, corujas não. Enquanto isso, o vilão jogou ali uma espécie de bola ali. Ok. Temos uma coruja como inimigo nesse jogo. Não... Não tem, não. Não tem meu dedo aí, não, Floyd. É o segundo jogo que eu encontro uma coruja como inimigo. É sério. Um foi no Tiny Toons. No Tiny Toons. De Nintendinho. Agora... Nesse jogo eu não esperava. Ok. Corujas no esgoto, ok. Corujas não ficam em esgoto. E agora temos aí as ratazanas. Ok, pelo menos dessa vez ele não precisou matar as corujas.
And then there are these long kind of sewer areas where you just have to wait for the rafts to basically get over to you.
Nossa, eu ia falar uma palavra para os ratos grandão ali, mas eu esqueci a palavra que a gente usa aqui pro caiano. Lembrei. Parecem uns ratos caianos ali naquela cena. É que rato muito grande, que é muito grande mesmo, tem uma espécie de rato que é muito grande, e a gente chama aqui de caiano. Eu não sei como vocês chamam aí em certos lugares do Brasil, mas aqui é caiano.
Like I mentioned before, you can literally just walk off of them. Yeah, it's not like a regular platform where you walk on the edge and it keeps you on it. You can just walk in the water. Yeah, it is nasty. I'm gonna cover the sun. Oh yeah.
Arriscado, mas ele conseguiu.
Little items on the ground. They're called try your luck signs, and basically you pick them up to gain extra lives. In StarTropics 1, they could actually subtract one life, but they were a little bit more generous in this game, and they removed that quote-unquote feature. So you can only gain lives from them in this game. We will not be picking up any try your luck signs. And now we're into the boss of this chapter.
Que ele pegou o orb e nossa. Ok, ele vai enfrentar a Zoda. Ou quer dizer, Zoda. Confundi com Zelda. Ups. E no fim não era Zoda. Passando. Ok, ele terminou a dungeon. Mas ele ainda precisa pegar a peça de volta. E olha só onde estava justamente a peça de Tetris. Com isso ele pega a peça S. E com isso ele ganha mais vida.
Oh yeah, he can appear in different areas. So basically, he'll vanish if you don't kill him and go somewhere else in the room. And it's kind of interesting. He doesn't just appear in areas. He actually is invisible and flies around the room. And then will appear.
Ai, ai, ai. Ok, ele vai agora ver mais uma.
You can kind of figure out where he's going to appear at the start based on.
Qual será a próxima peça de Tetris?
Timing, right, Tantalus?
Temos o quadrado. Tem a peça, né, que muita gente curte no Tetris quando tá no sufoco. E vamos agora para o capítulo 5, depois de outra viagem no tempo e espaço. E, pelo visto, agora vamos para o Velho Oeste.
So yeah, on to Chapter 5, Wild West. Again, thankfully, we only have to talk to literally 2 characters in this town, rather than the entire thing, or rather than the entire population, because if we did have to do that, this town would take a lot longer to get through. And they basically, we're basically going to pick up some dynamite in this area to help progress.
Bom, ele vai ter que entrar numa mina, porque aonde que, né, um dos moradores disse ter visto um desses estranhos blocos. Então ele vai ter que ir para as minas agora. Mas é claro, ele vai para a loja. E com isso ele pega dinamite.
Yeah, exactly. So, as a teenager, we have walked into the store and bought a load of dynamite. No problems. Actually,
e agora é hora de ir para as minas.
And we're gonna blow a hole in the wall just underneath this trail of gold here, and that's going to put us into the first dungeon of Chapter 5. And Chapter 5 has
ok,
nasty dungeons.
Ele já está se dirigindo já para a dungeon, já para a primeira dungeon.
Punishing, so hopefully it goes smoothly.
This one's really short, but there's a boss skit we're gonna try to do. We'll make one attempt at it.
Yeah.
So it's all bugged out to explain it.
Yeah. So basically, TheTantalus is going to, for the boss of this dungeon, he's going to try and set up a void walk to basically take damage from it at the same time as being on a pit, and then just jump to the exit of the room. So I'll let Tantalus focus when he gets there. We just have to go through a few rooms of enemies here. These purple scorpions are really nasty in that they shoot 2 projectiles.
Esses escorpiões, ele diz que são horríveis porque eles atiram 2 projéteis. E você enfrenta moedas de ouro como inimigo. E além de homens cactos.
But yeah, basically you would set up a void walk. You have to set up a damage frame in the room beforehand, but the cactus guys were just not behaving and they were going to cause too much damage, so we're just going to say meh.
Ok, mini boss derrotado.
Just kill him. But yeah, normally you would jump down to that little exit at the bottom left corner. And it saves, it's like 10 seconds, I think. Is that right?
It takes like 13 seconds, but then you lose the health because it takes, I think, 2.5 hearts. And I didn't, because I got hit by
ok, primeira dungeon finalizada.
I did not,
e agora ele encontra...
So,
yeah, exactly.
This level,
ele ganhou um upgrade no Shockwave psíquico.
So,
com um burrinho.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So we just got an upgrade to our psychic shockwave.
E agora ele entra na segunda dungeon. E estamos tendo drops de novo.
We're going to snag a safety medicine here, which will basically refill us 5 hearts whenever we pause the game and choose to use it.
Ele pegou aquele item apenas por segurança, porque se ele ficar com poucos corações, ele pode utilizar para recuperar 5 corações.
Cats guys play dead.
Wretched ghouls.
What a bunch of pricks. But yeah, so the super psychic shockwave.
E agora vem os baús e moedas para você derrotar.
Kill those speed coins really quickly. And then we're gonna get an item in this long room with the boulders called a big star, and I bet you can't imagine what a big star does.
E agora ele vai pegar a estrela rosa e essa estrela te deixa invisível como a estrelinha do Mario.
A horrible mid boss, the minecart, which throws out these golden.
Ok, agora ele tem que enfrentar o boss dessa dungeon, que é um esqueleto carrinho de mina. Ok, ele vai usar o item que ele pegou de segurança antes. Ok.
a good amount of health. So we should be in good shape.
There's nothing worse. I'll try to go for the skips on the bosses and pawn skip before I fight that boss. I hate it.
Yeah, and it's completely random. If it goes out the right side of the screen, it can still come out the left. You have no way of predicting what it's going to do. So you just have to hope.
Or when it's going to shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
It throws the...
Bom, com isso agora, com esses corações ele conseguiu recuperar a vida.
But the rest is completely unpredictable.
So we're gonna fight the mashing.
E agora ele vai ter que enfrentar o boss. Ele vai usar a estrela. Pra não tomar nenhum dano, e assim ele consegue matar o boss da mina.
He's honestly a horrible pain if you're fighting him like casually and you don't have a big star there. But luckily we wasted him pretty quick.
Yeah, if you were like, oh, why didn't you just use the star on the minecart? Because that boss is just as bad as the minecart. So those rocks block your shot, and then you have to jump over them to shoot him, and it turns into also can turn into a complete.
E olha só a peça de Tetris. É a peça que quando aparece na hora que o mundo precisa. O I ou é. I é a peça I. Que parece um I mesmo. Aí mais uma vez, hora de viajar no tempo.
Oh yeah, and there is another big star before the boss, luckily. So if you did use the first one, then you can get a spare one beforehand. But yeah. So we're on to chapter 6, which takes place in Italy.
E mais uma viagem no tempo e espaço para o capítulo 6.
One of the Ninja Turtles.
Vamos ver.
Leonardo. And again, this is one of those areas where you can just progress through.
Vamos ver onde que o personagem agora tá.
Honestly, in this town, you just get to the next progression area and you can go ahead. Hey, that guy didn't block you. That's nice.
Ele disse que não vai conversar com nenhum NPC dessa cidade, simplesmente vai.
I'm pretty sure the elders stayed put in chapter 5, so they're like perfect villager RNG, saved the whole 3 seconds.
Yeah. So there's somebody in this.
Da Vinci, não me diga.
Leonardo. We're going to do a void walk here.
Estamos na Itália, gente. Da Vinci sumiu.
At the same time as landing on the void tile, so that worked out really well. And something that I'm sure that you didn't know about Leonardo, you know, he is a feature, but he's also a ball aficionado. He's got all sorts of balls in his basement. He's got balls that spin in circles. He's got balls with spikes on them. He's got balls that are attached to machines that slam into the ground. And it's a very strange basement that Leonardo da Vinci has. And it's just, you know, something that history kind of just shunted under the rug. So we're going to do some platforming here.
Bom, enquanto isso ele tem que passar pela dungeon cheia de armadilhas projetadas.
And we're getting these ballrooms here. And the goal of these rooms is to basically make the balls roll into those black holes there. Similar to pool, but much more dangerous and annoying. But luckily, TheTantalus has a good method for getting them set up. Hey, no problem.
Bom, se a peça aí apareceu ainda o quadrado vai ter que ser.
Extremely short, but it can be frustrating to learn those ballrooms in the run.
Ele disse que esse capítulo é bem curto, mas né, ele citou muito sobre as bolas de metal. Ok, agora ele conseguiu martelo. E com isso você vai libertando o Da Vinci, que estava preso dentro de uma estátua dele mesmo. Bom, Da Vinci disse que viu um artefato estranho em um castelo. Meu Deus do céu.
just a katana, which definitely is not
Eu não esperava isso. Ok, e com isso agora ele tem uma katana para poder usar como arma e ele está usando uma das invenções. Ai, meu Deus do céu, eu não esperava justamente os caras zoarem com a Mona Lisa. Eu não estava esperando. Eu não estava esperando uma zoeira com mão.
But if I go below 5 health, it switches back to the Psychic Shockwave, and then there's an upgrade you get later that you need the full 10 row parts.
Yeah, exactly.
Another small detail, StarTropics 1 actually has 2 rows of 11 hearts in it, but they fixed that in this game. It's back down to 10 and 10.
Yeah. Here, have less iframes and less hearts, guys.
Yes.
Thanks. So we're in this little maze here, and again, this is similar to Chapter 2.
Bom, agora ele vai andar num pequeno labirinto.
Tantalus is going to walk in a specific path.
E ele precisa ter cuidado para não cair.
That being said, there are 2 that we have to fall in to progress. One of them is coming up here, and it's completely random what dungeon you get. I'm just going to hope that's not the bad one. There's a 3 in 4 chance that it's not bad dungeon.
That's a good one.
So we'll see that. Oh yeah, we're good. But yeah, and the bad one just takes.
Ok, ele teve o azar de cair numa buracos aí que ele não poderia cair. Mas com isso ele já tem que continuar.
Again, just avoiding some pits here in this small room, and then there's another mandatory little dungeon here where you have to take the exit.
E, né, infelizmente ali ele tinha que cair nessa armadilha mesmo fazer.
These skulls will kind of rotate, and if they see you, they'll fire that spread shot of bones. But luckily, they didn't really shoot that much in that room. Normally, they shoot a lot more there.
They didn't see me.
Yeah, just happened to work out. Avoiding some last pits here, and then there's the tetrad for this.
E, opa, temos o outro S. Só eu esqueci que temos 2 S's em Tetris. Ups. Ok, ele pegou o segundo S de Tetris. Só que no caso é a letra Z, né? Já que é o contrário de S. E olha que aparece de novo. Sim. Justamente Zoda apareceu. Só que dessa vez você está viajando através do espaço, só que não. E sim porque o vilão te jogou. E capítulo 7. Não vem com bum 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 não, Floyd. Eu sei onde você quer chegar com os...
Haunted house, big scary mansion, lots of spooky ghosts. But yeah. So the first
Bom, agora ele vai na mansão assombrada ali.
Monsters, and you have to attack them once, and then they split, and then you have to kill the pants. But the pants run around extremely quick, so sometimes they can get away. But it looks like they're just going to completely behave, so that's awesome. We're going to head up to the top right here, and there are going to be ghosts that appear in this room, and you only have to kill the pink one to kill them all. It takes 6 hits. So just like that, and you go through the door that appears.
Bus, são vocês?
Kill some zombies.
Porque parecem os bus.
And then we're going to encounter an enemy in the next room called Gravestone Ghost, and it basically functions similar to a dark net.
Só um momento, gente.
You basically have to hit the actual gravestone.
Desculpa, gente.
And we're going to pick up an item here called the 3-way shot, which is a really powerful and useful weapon. Good for clearing up bats, which you'll see here in a moment. And are we doing the void block here?
I'm gonna try.
Depois eu escuto os áudios, Floyd. Agora não.
Yeah, we're good.
Agora não dá.
Set up a damage frame by
Gente, desculpa aí se sai um som aí.
Acontece. So that's awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, the three-way shot really helps with clearing up the bats. Bats in this game are pretty brutal compared to the ones in StarTropics 1, which are a joke. These ones.
Bom, enquanto isso, ele ainda tá na dungeon. Tendo que passar por fantasmas e Frankenstein. Então, eu já não sei definir que era que é. Porque eu não tenho... Como que eu posso descrever uma era dessas? Não sei.
And these enemies are really annoying. They take a lot of hits to kill, and they have those explosives that also block shots. So sometimes you'll be shooting them and you won't actually be hitting anything because the explosion is just canceling all your projectiles. Now we're into the boss here.
Ih, hora do boss!
The next form of Zoda.
E aí, você tá enfrentando Zoda.
Pretty straightforward fight at first. You just kind of shoot the projectiles and bats.
Mas será que é uma trollagem igual a do Rei Copa com o Mario?
Yeah, the goal is to kill him before. I think you can only two-cycle in there.
Dessa vez era Zoda mesmo.
But then he transforms into this weird bird critter.
E ele, né, se transformou agora numa segunda forma.
Luckily, you can just kind of jump with the right time. You can jump in place and avoid the feathers that he shoots at you. And there you go. That's Zoda.
And by hitting him repeatedly, and this is why the super shockwave is important here. You keep him.
E Zoda foi derrotado.
So he slows down his animation and keeps him there longer, so he doesn't run away from you.
E temos o quadrado do Tetris.
Good dungeon. Full health again. It's just gonna be the thing. Yeah, so we get Tetrad there. And then we're heading into Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is pretty lengthy, has some very challenging dungeons. But we're closing in on the end of the game here. There's 9 chapters.
E agora ele vai usar mais uma vez o livro para poder viajar pelo espaço.
The first chapter of this game is only text, so it doesn't really count. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. This is a smooth run so far.
We'll try to keep it that way. Chapter 9 now opens up a can of worms, though, so we'll see.
E agora, capítulo 8.
So yeah, we're in basically Camelot in Chapter 8. And once again, we're just not going to really talk to anyone. We're just going to...
Ele disse que capítulo 8 é Camelot. Estamos agora na era dos... né? Na era medieval, né?
Apparently we'll just knight anyone who walks into his throne room.
Tempos de reis e rainhas. Nesse caso, Rei Arthur.
And it's actually also going to give us one extra heart to work with, which isn't really a huge deal, but take all the health you can get, right?
It is really odd that they give you the health increase at the end of 7, and then Arthur gives you another heart.
Yeah, it's weird.
But one of the things
Arthur pediu pra gente conversar com o Merlin. Que...
This, and one of the reasons I love to play this chapter as a kid was because
e com isso ele ganhou um aumento de vida. E, é claro, o Rei Arthur deseja boa sorte.
5 hearts, not at full health, but King Arthur refills your health regardless, so you get a fair shake at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Either way.
So yeah, Chapter 8 has 2 dungeons. The first one is quite short, and the second one's pretty long. So we're basically going to kill a bunch of enemies and then make sure...
E hora do dungeon!
Because it's going to cause a basically quicksand or a pit to open up and then drop us into the next area. And you need to land in specific parts to make sure you're on the platform so you can progress. When you kill this enemy over these skulls here, you get a good pattern. And again, just gonna land on that platform. These Silver Knights, they fire like a spread shot of those crosses. But they're generally not too much of an issue on their own, but there are some harder versions later that are much more annoying, which we'll see in 8.2 here. I'm going to use these conveyors for advantage and just go as fast as possible. You can, if you're full health, it's worth it to kind of go through one knife, but since we're not full health, we're just going to ignore that. We're going to fight an enemy here called Knight Rider, who is incredibly annoying to fight.
E agora vem o Cavaleiro Negro.
But you can kind of set it up so that you move along with him and do damage as he's moving across the room. That wasn't too bad. But he literally just moves back and forth and fires lasers, and he's just annoying. The lasers don't even do much damage. It's just a chaos boss, I want to say.
He's the time sink. He's the slow rundown boss.
E pós-derrotado, agora ele precisa passar ainda por outra dungeon.
Yeah, now we're going to talk to Merlin, who is going to reveal himself as...
Que agora ele vai atrás de Merlin.
Throughout the game. And say, hey, I'm going to power up your psychic shockwave a little bit more, so you can go and kick Zoda's butt.
E agora ele encontrou o Merlin.
Yeah, he's basically a friend of Hirokon, who's the father of the Argonians.
E o Merlin te dá o Ultra Psychic Shockwave, e com isso o seu poder psíquico é aumentado.
Ultra Psychic Shockwave, which is the best weapon for DPS in the game. So we're going to try and keep our health up in order to maintain the Psychic Shockwave.
Segundo o Runner, é a melhor arma que você pode usar para dar bom DPS nesse jogo.
Yeah, it's very, very good weapon. There's no reason to use anything else. Yeah, this stuff for the most part. These large blobs split into 3 smaller ones, and these smaller ones move faster than the ones we saw earlier, so they can be a pain if they get out of hand. Luckily, those Zodasaurs are pretty slow, but they do take a lot of damage. If they hit you with that shot, you do a ton of health. You can just jump on the projectile, and TheTantalus took all these enemies out, no problem. Just gonna kind of, well, not manipulate, but just go into specific tiles to take out these blobs in the right pattern. And this is basically just hoping that the blobs behave.
Opa! Twitch, please não. O Twitch aqui me travou. Pera aí que eu tô dando F5 aqui, gente.
Blobs behave.
Ok.
And I feel like they're going okay.
Ah, não.
That wasn't too bad.
Deu uma travada aqui.
These rockets
Ok.
basically just split into a number of projectiles when you kill them. Just gotta be careful. I took a hit there, but that's okay. It's not too much damage. There's tons of hearts in this level, so it's not too much to worry about. This room, again, you can slip off this platform. There is like a crazy void walk here, which saves like 6 seconds, but is incredibly hard to do, so nobody does it. RTA.
Yeah, nobody's finished a run with it in there. Polka has done it, RTA, but it's hard. It's not something even he goes for very often.
It ain't marathon safe. So these Golden Knights are the worst versions of those Silver Knights, and they are, again, like Dark Nuts, similar to that ghost we fought earlier. You can only kill them, you can only attack them and hit them from behind or from the side, and they move very erratically. They'll advance towards you, and then as soon as you move, then they start like turn, and they can be very annoying time sink enemies. So hopefully they act nicely, because they are a huge reason for gaining time in this chapter.
Got a wall push there.
Okay. Yep, got a wall push by jumping. Basically, you jump so that the corner of that heightened ledge pushes you over a little bit and saves a couple frames. Yeah, this is exactly what I need. This gold. There we go. Gold jerk. We're going to encounter those only a couple more times. Luckily, there's only a fewer the Golden Knights, but yeah, they are definitely a huge reason for losing time here.
Esses cavaleiros aí, o de ouro é o pior, né? O de prata também já não colabora.
I hate them. Then we're going to do this double blob room. this is the room right before the boss. There is a medicine there. I don't know if it's made or not. I feel like they're in pretty good shape. But it is right there, so I don't know. Yeah, just kind of have to hope these blobs behave, and you always know they're going to jump diagonally, and they'll always jump away from the wall.
E agora ele vai enfrentar o boss, que é o dragão.
This dragon, when he's nice, he'll just walk towards you and look menacing, but when he's not nice, he'll blow flames at you like mad, like this. And you can only
E dragão derrotado.
Jump and attack him. Unless he's leaning down to shoot fire, and then you can just shoot straight on. But the fire also blocks attacks, so it's kind of tricky. But that went really smooth. Oh yeah, and there's spikes filling up the room, but the spikes very rarely get to any sort
Vamos ver qual vai ser agora.
Yeah, the dragon can also fly around the room and launch.
Ele pegou o outro L, porque temos dois L's. Em Tetris. Ok, ele pegou o segundo L.
But it was acceptable. The blobs are just so slow. They were always so all over the place.
Yeah. Just gotta hope that they line up, but that's the way it goes.
Okay, so we get to do our coolest skips in Chapter 9. So, we are not going to fight the final boss of this game. That is the new development that hasn't really been done in a marathon before. Only 2 people even have posted runs.
Bom, e agora ele vai tentar, né, viajar, porque ele quer voltar no tempo dele. Ele está cansado de ficar no tempo.
I think 3 now. I think Terex.
E vamos ver.
Oh, you're right. Terex did do it. Terex did do it. So, and he's, approaching 3rd place on the leaderboard now too. You're right. So, yeah, only 3 people have done it in a run.
E nós vamos para o capítulo 9. E o último capítulo do jogo. E ele consegue retornar ao tempo presente.
But there's 2 skips. We're going to skip an old friend, and then we're going to skip the final boss. So I'll let Bug Doctor take it from here.
Make sure you talk to that guy from the left.
Yep.
E aí agora precisa ir justamente salvar a amiga dele e enfrentar o último chefão.
And we find that all the villagers have been turned into pigs. So we actually get to replay some parts of the very first dungeon. There are a few rooms missing, but overall it's pretty similar. A couple small changes, but that's about it. And a really good remix of the original dungeon as well. Only got to kill 1 blob in this 6 blob room. In the original game, you got to kill all 6, so that's kind of a nice change. Oh yeah, and something that wants to walk with you. Something I forgot to mention is when you jump, if you hold the jump button, you do a higher jump.
Agora que eu vi seu comentário, Floyd, Darth Vader com capacete Vic. Eu não vi.
TheTantalus was short hopping along those blocks there. Yeah, pretty. It's basically like a shorter version of the StarTropics 1 dungeon. Nice, just walking by that snake. That's good. And we're going to run into Sea Serpent here, but we're going to set up a void walk for him. Which is kind of funny because that means that with respect to speedruns, you don't fight Sea Serpent at all in either game.
Eu não vi que você escreveu o Darth Vader com capacete Vic. Eu só li a parte. Acontece.
Column of flame and then also one of the side projectiles. It just sets up perfectly. It'll always fire the same way when you go up in that corner. So yeah, Sea Serpent survives both games, which is funny.
Yeah, we literally never fought him.
Yeah.
And he's,
and then we
even as an undead, we can't fight him.
Yeah, exactly. Just leave him there. He's like, aw.
E agora é hora do boss rush ou hora dos refights.
Yum Yum here is actually doing something. So in the first, in the 2nd chapter, I forgot to mention, if you kill that pig that Yum Yum is eating, he will go berserk and become basically one of the hardest bosses in the game. Yeah, so that's how he's acting there.
E agora ele tem que enfrentar o segundo boss.
But he just doesn't have big E. Here we're just going to blast the scorpion because you're kind of safe from his spread shot when you just stand completely still, which is awesome. The Monster Mask refight, it's a little bit faster and fires some more projectiles, I believe, once it turns red, but It's just sitting there. It's just sitting there, man, and taking the damage. So it's dead. We're gonna refight Zoda X, and if we're lucky, we'll get a one cycle with a 3-way shot here. It's kind of tricky. You can sort of shotgun. Oh, that fire. Yeah, the fire helps do it there. So 3-way shot you can shotgun enemies with. You can only fire them as long as as fast as the projectiles are gone. So having that blue flame column appear there, block projectiles, actually let TheTantalus shoot faster, which is awesome. Man, good mashing minor fight, completely dodge everything. And then this is our refight with Zoda Y, and this is where we're gonna do the next, the final Void Walk and huge skip.
Ok, ele tá perto de terminar já as refights.
So I'll let TheTantalus focus here. He's gonna set it up by just hitting those spikes. And we're actually gonna jump over and spend some time with Zoda, just hang out with him. Kill him over here, which we luckily have a lot of time to do. Interestingly, he does he only does 1 heart of damage if you touch him. He does no damage.
Pior que esse boss, na segunda forma, parece uma coruja com olhos de mosca. Ok.
The wall of the dragon fight, and then we're just gonna exit. There's an exit tile there. So that's it.
E com isso ele já fez a boss rush.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff.
That's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. Oh, and we're not going to talk to Mika. You can just ignore her, and then you can take all the villagers with you in this weird glitch. Yeah, this was an incredibly smooth run. Good stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't PB, so I knew I could get Micah, but it's this is going to be time
59:44.
Yeah, my numlock didn't work, but it's 59:43.
Oh yeah, that's time.
Yeah, the timer's not stopping.
Ele não consegue parar o tempo de novo, mais um timer. Mas GG para TheTantalus, né? Ele conseguiu finalizar o jogo. E com isso, ele... Agora o chefe vai montar as peças de Tetris.
But yeah, this was an incredibly smooth run. That was super impressive.
That was 4 seconds off my PB. That was absolutely the best run I've done for.
E o runner está impressionado porque ele pegou um PB nessa run, gente. Então, nossa, parabéns para ele.
So I'm very proud of that. That was really good. So I could
photo sensitivity right here when this flower joins up and a little bit more. So just keep that. Sorry, go ahead.
So while we're ending the credits here.
E ai meus olhos, só digo agora isso.
That was very good. Very great commentary, appreciate it, but you also
E com isso ele consegue salvar o pai da Mika.
No problem at all. This is awesome.
Thank you all, Retrothon, for having me in the marathon, as well as especially the Nest Day. Always love to see that.
Meu Deus! E com isso agora eles vão para o lugar deles.
Just want to thank everybody who's watching, supported the StarTropics scene. It's been
Só digo uma coisa agora. Ai, meus olhos. Essa piscação doeu aqui.
And it's a really great scene. Come join us. The Discord, Bug Doctor and I are there. We're improvers for the runs for most games. So if you want to learn these games, we're going to be working on a guide for them. So otherwise, that'll do it for us. That's StarTropics 2. I hope you all enjoyed sub-hour. That's a rare treat to get this game done in sub-hour. So
fantastic execution, and the game behaved as well.
Yes.
Really nothing wrong with it. So good stuff.
All right. Well, that'll do it. Thank you all.
Bom, se você quiser seguir TheTantalus, só basta digitar no nickname dele na aba de pesquisa da Twitch. Vamos ver se o bot está vivo. Não, o bot ainda tá morto. Não, o bot tá vivo, mas tá... Ok, o bot tá vivo, mas tá com outro... Tá com um runner bem já... Né, que é o The Toad. Ai, ok, faz parte. E agora o próximo jogo, Blaster Master. E... Olá, Sassini!